So the next step, after alienating Bill with the herds of dumbed down military cattle, is to introduce Bill to a handler or an agent that will try to get close to you as a friend or co-worker. And these handlers will usually be more intelligent, personable, or sympathetic to the target. So basically the handler paints themselves as someone the target could relate to more. So the CIA may parade 1,000 handlers in front of a target before the target begins to talk to a single one of them. And in Bill's case, the guy he related to was this Doyle Shamley, who supposedly had organized a research conference that Bill had heard about and attended. So Bill met Doyle there, who probably seemed more intelligent than most of the people around the military-controlled area of Eager, Arizona. And Bill was probably impressed that Doyle was a 32nd degree Freemason and was willing to talk about it on Bill's show. Of course, Doyle really didn't tell Bill any secrets about Freemasonry that Bill did not already know from his years of research. And basically, Doyle just reaffirmed Bill's belief, which is that most Freemasons know less about Freemasonry than the average person who seriously researches it on his or her own. So Doyle wasn't about to admit to Bill that the real point to secret societies is MK Ultra programming and military control over everyone, and that Doyle is a part of the conspiracy to invade America, go after dissidents, and infiltrate any and all revolutionary movements, and if they cannot control the rebel leaders, to kill them in a military-styled religious ritual that goes back thousands of years and is taught in every secret society. So if you haven't watched the documentary, The Hour of Our Time, The Legacy of William Cooper, or haven't seen it in a while, please watch that again, because it's the only documentary that I know about that really goes into some detail about what happened to Bill during the final years of his life. So the following information I'm getting from that documentary. So at the end of William Cooper's life, the CIA had broken up his family. He was obviously getting threats because it is reported that he moved his wife and daughter out of their house for safety reasons. And Bill announced that if anyone tried to kidnap his child, he would respond with armed resistance. The feds took over his Hour of the Time radio show by managing to get close to Bill, by working with him on his radio show and on the mail orders and on his website. They had moved agents into his neighborhood who lived in the houses around him, and they installed piles like Doyle Shamley as Bill's new best buddy after isolating him from real people. And after they did all of that, they then began a harassment program where military agents disguised as young punks would drive to his road that was a cul-de-sac, and they would park, blast music, drink, and throw garbage around. Then some of Bill's neighbors, who were also military agents, would ask Bill to run the kids off whenever he saw them up there because the kids were damaging their property. And Bill agreed, wanting to look out for his neighbors and not understanding what was happening. If they had been real neighbors and real people whose property was being damaged by gangs of kids who would hang out on their little dirt road every night, they would have called the cops, because it's the cops' job to deal with punks like that, and it was not Bill's responsibility. But that was part of the military operation that used the situation to set up Bill's murder by using agents posing as these teenage punks to provoke a violent situation with Bill Cooper that ended in a shootout and Bill dying. The military knew that Bill was already annoyed by all these assholes that they would command to drive up and down his small road, park around his house, blast music, and throw garbage around. Then a local doctor named Scott Hamlin was also driving up to Bill Street, parking near Bill's house, and was probably taking photographs. Because when Bill approached him, the doctor said to Bill that he was there with his family during a lightning storm so they could get a good view of it. So who puts their family in a car and then drives around during a lightning storm up to the top of a hill to get a better view? So it's obvious that Dr. Hamlin is just another controlled piece of shit there to harass Bill. And later, this same Dr. Hamlin is used by police as a reason Bill Cooper had been denied medical treatment after being shot by undercover cops and agents disguised as teenage punks. So the local doctor is up there harassing Bill, then says that Bill has a gun on him. So a warrant is issued for Bill's arrest. The cops show up as a bunch of rowdy, drunk teenagers, provoke a violent reaction, shoot Bill, and then because the local doctor is involved, by chance, just by chance, then Bill is denied medical attention. So if Bill did have a weapon on him, I would say that's his right to carry a weapon on his own property in front of his own house. And if anybody's out of place, it's the Dr. Hamlin who's parked there in front of Bill's house, probably taking photographs during the middle of a lightning storm, like a good CIA piece of shit freak. So the federal agents decide to continue their harassment right up to the exact moment that they go to arrest Bill. And according to this documentary, the cops are supposedly scared of Bill being armed with an automatic rifle that he's rumored to keep at his front door. So instead of arresting him when he goes out on an errand and isn't packing his AK-47 assault rifle, they say, okay, since we're afraid of his assault rifle, we're going to send a bunch of weird undercover guys in a truck to create this huge chaotic situation right near his front door, right near his house, where there will definitely be a fight. And in this next clip, we have Doyle Shamley stating that the cops later admit to him that it was a premeditated murder.
I was told by the law enforcement officials that were on site and ones that had to come up afterwards and get a briefing so they knew what went on roughly, because public was obviously going to be coming to try to come up here, and news crews and all whatnot. They had put out that Bill is not to be let back in that house alive. It was premeditated. It was put out, Bill will not be allowed back in alive.
So I guess these cops were certain that they could tell Bill's best little buddy there that they planned on killing Bill and not have to worry in the least about little Doyle pressing any charges against them. So that means to me that the cops knew that Doyle was just another accomplice who was also taking the oath to have his throat cut, his tongue ripped out, his chest hacked open, his guts thrown over his shoulder, and his body split in two if he went against their order. So the cops weren't too worried about what they said to their fellow asshole. But to finish up exposing this little piece of shit, in the next clip, listen to what this little MK slave boy says about the man.
Towards maybe the last 8 months or so of his life, because of events happening around the world and then culminating in 9/11, as far as world type events, Bill really turned the heat up on the people that would see this country's demise on his broadcast and on his website. And at that point, a person could tell if they had watched the happenings and knew the facts, not just the crap that was put in a paper here and there about Bill or the situation here, and had done their research that now it wasn't a matter of if but when for Bill's demise.
Not a question of if but when. Can anyone truly believe that this guy was actually Bill's friend with a comment like that? What a thing to say about a guy who was standing up against a gang of the worst criminals in world history. It wasn't a question of if they'll get him, but when they'll get him. So my question is, when are they going to get you, Doyle? Here you are, apparently fighting beside Bill, who just got assassinated, and you don't seem too worried in the least about the same thing happening to you with such a blunt statement as that, you little fucking whore. So in the end, the military broke up his family, murdered William Cooper, took over his radio show, took down his library, then produced the conspiracy documentary on William Cooper's death, and then even decided where Bill would be buried. And that is what secret societies and military orders are all about. Not secret handshakes or code words, or the true meaning behind some object or religious myth. The majority of these military retards, the majority of these military scumbags, enjoy being part of a herd that goes after people who are better and brighter than all of them put together. And by killing these people, they feel powerful. Many, if not all of these military agents have been raped, traumatized, victimized in every way, and live a life with no freedom whatsoever. So they really don't care what happens to you and your families. And the worst of these agents only feel better about themselves when they get to rape and victimize others, just as they were raped and victimized themselves. So those who are the most cruel, hateful, and have the least problem attacking people, killing American families, and taking everything from them seem to do the best within the military and Vatican brotherhoods. So I want to dedicate my work on exposing the military brotherhood to the man, to William Cooper, a true mentor, and the man who woke me up and inspired me to take a stand.